Your relationships will make you rich. Let me explain. So, if we take a look over here, there's been studies done, the Harvard study of adult development, long-term evidence that shows that close relationships strongly predict health and longevity. The Holt-Lunstad social connection meta-analysis, the quantitative finding that strong relationships improve survival odds by roughly 50%. All you have to understand between those two is that your relationships, specifically close relationships, are vital to your health and your longevity. So if it's vital for that, we can assume that it will probably be vital for every single factor outside of that in your life. Specifically about riches/money. So if you want to get rich, your relationships should help you do that. There's 4 kind of relationships we'll look at starting out. Ignore the lines and everything. There's family, which is probably the first thing that comes to mind. There's friends, there's your wife or your life partner, whatever. And then there's your colleagues. We can put pretty much every single relationship into these 4 buckets. We'll start with family because it's the easiest to understand. You don't get to pick and choose who these people are, but they're going to be a strong factor of your why. So the reason for doing all this. Now, it's your current family and your future family. Very important because these are 2 very different things. Your why is pretty much the reason why you do everything. So let's talk about riches. A reason why you might want money is because you want to retire your dad who's been working for 40 years. Okay, that's a part of your why. Okay, you want to work really hard, make enough money, retire your dad. Or your why could be you want to work really hard, make a lot of money so that your kid can have opportunities that you didn't, for example. So that is a part of your why. And this is going to be a very big part of why you do all of this to begin with. Because if you think about it right now, you have this picture in your head like, okay, in 10 years' time, I want to have all this money and I want to live in this great house and this and that. And the thing is, there's probably a reason for that outside of just yourself, somehow connected to family. Like a lot of people starting out, they have this goal of retiring their parents, which is a big motivator. Some people they want to retire the future wife, although that will fall under the wife bracket, which we'll go into soon. Or some people want their kids to pursue their dreams one day. So let's say I have a kid, he's super into a certain sport, and it's going to be really tough to get off the ground. Like he needs really good coaching, whatever it might be. That gives me the ability to let him pursue that dream because I have the money to fund his lifestyle. It's not a big issue. I can maybe run a business and then give him a part of that to run as well so that he can do that on the side, whatever it might be. The why here is super important and it's going to make you want to work harder. Next part is they keep you grounded. So something happens when you spend all day, every day in this niche, this business that you're in, just like grinding, you're speaking to the same people every single day, you're speaking about the same things every single day, you get a little bit like messed up in your head. Everything revolves around this one thing. You kind of forget that there's life outside of this thing. But if you have family, especially if you're living with family, like I live with my parents, when I'm done with work and I go to sit on the couch or whatever, my family is there. Then you speak to your family, you remember there's different things to life. You hear about certain things they did or things that happened, whatever it might be. You have different conversations. It keeps you grounded. It calms you down. You're not constantly thinking about the same thing, which eventually leads to burnout, which I'll probably make a separate video about. But those are the 2 main points in terms of family. Big part of your why, and they keep you grounded, which actually allows you to keep going longer. So there's 2 very important parts about relationships and how it links to online business and success and everything like that. There are 2 things you want to accomplish, voice crack, you want to accomplish with your relationships. You want them, number 1, to make you more ambitious, work harder, go further. And number 2, they need to regulate you and keep you grounded emotionally so that you can do that for longer. So you need to want to go further and you need to be able to do it for longer. So that's what these 2 do. First of all, your why, you want to go further because you want to accomplish more things, and they keep you grounded so you're able to do it for longer. So that's the family box checked. Now let's go into friends. Your friends, these are the people you obviously choose. And first of all, they're going to be very highly linked to your happiness. Say what you want about that. a lot of your quality of life is going to come from your friends. If you don't have any friends, you probably don't have a great life, realistically, except if you have great colleagues, but I'll get into that later. So happiness is a big part of, again, being able to do this long term. If you have great friends who you're spending time with 2-3 times a week, you guys speak about things that you enjoy, you go on nice outings, whatever, you get time to relax, decharge from work, whatever, it's going to, again, make you able to do this for a longer time period. Like, it's more sustainable when you have great friends to rely on as well, okay? Then it's also going to decide your hobbies, so your interests, and then these are things that also play into your success. So something like going to the gym, for example. If you have 5 friends who go to the gym, you'll probably be the 6th one to go to the gym, which in turn makes you a more confident person, you're more assertive when you're on sales calls, whatever it might be, or you feel better about yourself. You're going to work harder because you care more about health, whatever it might be. And then third, mindset. You're going to adopt a lot of your mindset from your friends' mindsets. If your friends are in the mindset of like, oh yeah, I can accomplish pretty much everything I want within nature's boundaries, and I'm going to work relentlessly, I'm obsessed about my goals, this, that, you're probably going to be in a similar mindset. Versus if your friends are, let's say you try a new business and your friends are laughing at you, or they're unsupportive and this and that, or it's never going to happen, whatever, you're probably likely to adopt that mindset and then make that into your reality. Because at the end of the day, that's how life works. Whatever your mindset is, that's going to turn into your reality. Next up, your wife. This is a super important decision, by the way, if you haven't noticed that already. First things first, emotional regulation. So, oh, by the way, the mindset thing was obviously also how far you want to go, as opposed to how long you're able to do it. Emotional regulation, again, how long you're able to do the thing. If you have a wife that after you had a 10-hour workday, absolutely grueling, back-to-back sales calls, constantly tough day, and she's able to regulate you emotionally, calm you down, speak to you about these things, get you into the right headspace, not make you lose your mind, you'll be able to continue along the path for a longer time period, again. And this keeps you from making stupid decisions. Because if you are, this is a story I've never told anyone. When I was getting into sales, my girlfriend at the time, I actually told her, because it was trench work, it's like 3, 4, 5 hours a day of dialing leads that aren't picking up, people like screaming in your face or just constant voicemails, whatever it might be. Constantly doing that, I was like, yeah, I do not want to do this, I want to quit this. And I told her that, and she told me to just see it through, see what happens, whatever, which I'm very grateful for now. That plays a big role. If you're able to be in a clear mind space, make the right decisions, not just be impulsive because it's just you, you're the only person making these decisions because it's just your life and you're the only person who relies on your income, you're not going to be as emotionally regulated to be able to make the right decisions. Okay? Next thing is, this is your biggest why. Okay? If you haven't noticed, your why is pretty important to how far you want to go. Okay? And your wife is going to be a super big why. If she's going to push you, she's going to expect the best of you. Now, obviously, she's not going to be a gold digger. But if she wants you to reach your potential, be the man you're supposed to be, you have these big dreams, big goals, she's going to push you to achieve those. That's going to be a big part of your why, okay? And then also, you probably want to give her an easier life. Let's say you want children, you want her to be a stay-at-home wife. To be able to do that, you need a lot of money. So again, it's going to add to your why. So this is one of the biggest motivators. Now, you don't want to attach this to a specific person until you are then married. And I don't even know if that's the right thing, because if you get divorced, that would be a big issue. But besides the point, very big why. Okay. Third is support and standards. So like I said, she's going to support you through all of this. She's going to hold you to the standards that you know you're capable of. So if you're a man of character and you say, okay, I want to reach X goal, I want to make 50K a month, and I want to change this industry, and I want to do this thing, and I want to do this thing, and I'll reach this goal. And she hears that, she supports you, she's going to keep you to those standards. And now you have someone keeping you accountable, at least. Maybe she might tell you like, oh, you need to go do this thing, but probably not. More so in the fact that you told this person, I want to work to reach this goal. Now you have to actually work to reach that goal. Because if you don't, you just don't keep your word. And you didn't keep your word to probably the most important person in your life, right? So again, I'll say it again, this is a very important decision. If you pick a bad life partner, the amount of detriment that's going to have on your success is probably insane. Anyways, colleagues, people you work with. So first of all, it's going to impact how much you enjoy the work. So how long you're able to do the thing, again, how sustainable it is. And then number two is competition. So who you're competing against, how hard you want to work, how much do you want it. If you have this environment of 3 other guys working for the same company you are, or in the same niche, whatever, you're all pushing to compete with each other. Guess who's going to go further? The person who has that competition, or the person doing it against no one else? The person doing it against competition, right? And also, you'll probably learn things from one another. Like if me and 3 of my friends are running an agency, and one friend gets a crazy outreach strategy in his niche and I'm in a different one, he can just share that knowledge to me and I can then implement it, and now we're all doing better. And also what forms part of this enjoyment of work thing is you're able to do really cool things with these guys, especially if you're making like a good amount of money. If in the space you're in, let's say you run an agency, you're making 20, 30, 40K a month. You're friends with 2, 3, 4 other guys doing the same thing. You can now travel the world, go places, rent houses, whatever it might be. Should you do that? Debatable. Probably to an extent. But it's going to make the whole process more enjoyable. Now, your family and your wife, you need them because they're outside of your work. It helps you to avoid groupthink. So that's also, if you're constantly in this environment of people in the same like work as you are, they're all like chasing the same goals, whatever, you can have a lot of the same ideologies. And that's going to lead to groupthink. So that's when you have, let's say, a question and everyone arrives to the same answer and you're like, okay, so that must be the answer. But you're asking the same kind of person the question. So let's say you ask, stupid example, let's say you ask skinny guys, okay, if it's hard to gain weight. You ask 4 skinny guys if it's hard to gain weight. The chances are all 4 of them are probably going to say, yes, it is hard. Okay, and you might think, oh, damn, so it's hard to gain weight. That's groupthink, because you ask the same person or the same kind of person the question. If you ask a diverse group of people the same question, you might get different answers, which is important because your family are probably not included in your work. They're going to have way different kind of views on life and ideologies than you do, especially if you have, let's say you're a guy and you have a sister. So first of all, she has a different life perspective, and then you have parents that have different generational perspectives, and maybe you have grandparents that they have even crazier generational different kind of ideologies and everything. So it's going to lead you to a more well-rounded decision. Okay. Again, they keep you grounded and regulated. Already ran through that. And number 3, you have a reason. Again, your why. You probably don't just want to have a bunch of money and sit by yourself in a mansion when you're 35 years old and you have your Porsche outside, but there's no one there. Like even if you have colleagues and acquaintances and stuff, you probably want some people you can call family. So that is the family you're born into, and then the family you create with your wife, obviously. Now, the big important part, if you want to get rich, is you want to turn your friends and your colleagues into sort of the same thing. So you want them to overlap, okay? There's a few reasons for this. Number 1, work is fun. If you are working with your friends on businesses, you're all grinding, you're competing, that makes it so much more fun. Can you imagine how much more you'd be wanting to work? Let's say you have a normal 9-to-5 job, you go to an office. If you show up to the office and your 3 best friends greet you on the way in and you're talking about deals that's coming through or whatever job you do, work is going to be a lot more fun. You're going to want to do it more. You're going to want to compete more. You're going to want to see better results. Okay, and that's another part. You can't escape the competition, because now if you're just competing with your colleagues, it's like, let's say you work a 9-to-5, you go in, you compete, clock strikes 5 p.m, you go out for a drink with your friends or whatever it might be, you see them over the weekend, you go for a hike, you now escape the competition. Versus if your friends are also your colleagues, which can be bad in certain areas, but let's ignore that for a second, you can never escape that competition, because you're going to go on the hike and you're still going to be speaking about the same things, about the same competing that you've been doing. Okay. Next up, you have more opportunities. If you have a bunch of colleagues, let's say you have 10 people in your network. I don't really like that word, but let's say 10 people in your network. They're your colleagues, you work with them. Someone gets a great opportunity. Maybe it comes to you. Like you're acquainted, but you're not good friends. If you are friends with guys in the same niches or the same businesses or whatever it might be with you, and an opportunity comes up, you're already doing the same work as them and you're good friends with them, who do you think they're likely to share that opportunity with? It's probably you, right? Your friend who's in the same industry. Which again, it's going to open more doors for opportunity. You're probably going to succeed quicker, and yeah, you can do the same thing for them, right? And it's also going to build that financial security. Because if you have friends who have opportunities in the same space that you're in, and you lose your job or your company breaks down or whatever it might be, they can probably offer you some form of support or some kind of fallback plan. You can go work for their company because you were in the same niche or whatever it might be. So it adds to your security, your financial security. Next, you have closer connections. So again, the study that I mentioned earlier shows that if you have strong relationships, your survival odds improve by roughly 50%. So if you literally just have closer connections and more of them until a certain degree, if you have like 30, then it's probably not close. You're literally going to live longer. You're just going to live longer. So if you have colleagues who are also friends and you have this great relationship with them, you're going to live longer, you're going to have more enjoyment out of life, and then finally, you can do cool things. Imagine you are sitting on your bed, it's Thursday, and you decide, you know what, this weekend I want to fly to that country that's really close to my house and stay there for the weekend. Or sorry, not my house, close to your country. And you're like, okay, I'm going to call up my boys, yo, let's all book a flight, boom, 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 okay. Next thing you know it, the next day you're sitting in Marbella with your friends and you're eating at a restaurant talking about business and your goals for the next year, whatever it might be. That just makes life so much better. So the thing is, all of these fall into two buckets, right? So like I mentioned, they either make it possible for you to do the thing for a longer time period, or they make it possible for you to want to go further with the thing. So it either makes you more ambitious or it makes you try longer at that ambition. Okay, so it's going to make you rich in that sense because it's going to make you have a bigger goal, which in most people's terms is usually money. Like, oh, well, maybe it was I want to have $1 million liquid cash when I'm 30. Now maybe it might be I want 5 million. Okay, and now if your wife, your family that's keeping you grounded, controlled, you're able to actually push towards that goal for the next 10, 12, 15 years. Now the question is, how do you optimize them? How do you get these good relationships of friends and colleagues and your future family and a great wife and all these things? Well, I mean, the answer is pretty simple. It's you. If you are the kind of guy who works really hard and you're focused on these good habits and you enjoy your work and you're friendly with other people, you're going to be the kind of guy who attracts a similar kind of person. Same goes for your wife. If you are a emotionally mature guy and you're focused on your business, your career, whatever it might be, and you're looking for a person who is also mature in that sense and looking to support someone like that, whatever the case is, you're more likely to find that person than just kind of wandering around like, oh, this guy's a cool friend, let me be friends with him. Oh yeah, I met this guy, John, at work, he drinks and he smokes and he's kind of fat and he doesn't really care about his health and this and that, but it's all good, which I'm not saying you can't be friends with them, like be friendly with them, but realize that your relationships will dictate your future, probably more than anything else will, because you're never going to stay on this grind by yourself. People love to think like, oh yeah, Winter Rock, I'm on my own, I'm pushing, it's like, it's just me, I did it on my own. You're probably not going to do it on your own, bro. First of all, the reason you're going to do it is probably for family, a wife, friends, whatever it might be. And if you haven't noticed, most of the people in this space, there's something like mentally wrong with all of us. There's some kind of reason that you want to overcompensate and not have a normal life. Maybe you were like bullied in school, or this girl rejected you when you were 13 years old, whatever it might be. There's usually some reason why you feel the need to pursue something like this. And that's usually attributed to people, right? Maybe your parents treated you poorly, they didn't see you as very valuable, whatever it might be. So optimize your relationships and do that by optimizing yourself. Become the kind of person that you want to be friends with, you want to marry, or you want your family to be like. Become the kind of person that they want to be friends with or the wife of, etc., etc. So that's all for today. If you watched this far into the video, hit that subscribe button because you just watched 20 minutes of my content. And go follow my Instagram, link is in the description. Any questions, ideas, comments, anything, leave them in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.